With the second season of House of the Dragon wrapped up, which I didn't even realize until days before the finale aired because I figured it would have the normal 10, let's take a look at the season as a whole and see how it compares to what we've got before. Welcome to Sandwich Reviews. I'm the Talking Sentient Sandwich, and House of the Dragon will always have a hard time, just because Game of Thrones is that good. Well, early Game of Thrones. And its controversial ending has only made it that much more difficult for House of the Dragon to find success. But I think despite all of that, this show is pretty great at times. I enjoyed the first season enough to get me invested in this new cast of characters, and the second season was just more of the same. The show meanders and takes forever to get to the actual overarching plot, but there was enough going on to make each episode captivating, and I was always intrigued to watch more, tuning in every week at the same time to see what kind of messed up situations the multiple rulers of this kingdom got into as they fought for the throne. I wish more actually happened, but it wasn't like there weren't any fight scenes or battles. Though this season did feel like the precursor, the filler between the setup and the actual season depicting the war between the Greens and the Blacks. One of my few critiques of this season is that as soon as the story was getting started, it ended. No spoilers yet, but the finale felt like the big episode before the mid-season break. Also, the marketing and what I know of the novel this is based on, which I have not read, all pushed the same idea, that the viewer would have to choose between the Green House and the Black House. But the show continuously sides with Rhaenyra, which was fine because I was with her anyway, but I can see how the narrative could get aggravating if you supported the Hightowers. In fact, I kinda wished the story was more ambiguous with who was right and who was wrong. Not that anyone in the Greens wasn't sympathetic, because the writing does do a good job of making the viewer at least understand where a character's head's at, even if you still want to see them gruesomely murdered. But no matter how good the drama was, it's hard to get behind any of the Greens because they usurped the throne and descended the realm into chaos. But that's unimportant. What is important is how we finally got a dragon fight, and it was as glorious as it was short-lived. I mean, that's all I've ever needed from this franchise, so I'm fine with settling with what we got, though I can't help but look forward to bigger and better dragon battles in the future. And in all seriousness, there's a lot of politics that I could frankly use more of, because whenever there was a council meeting or just two people discussing some kind of plan, I was fully locked in. So if you're a fan of the good Game of Thrones seasons and currently looking for something similar, yet somehow haven't seen House of the Dragon, check it out, because there are now 2 great seasons of it, and hopefully many more to come. But now it's time to talk spoilers, so if you haven't seen all of Season 2, pause the video, go watch 8 admittedly long hours of House of the Dragon, then come back, because I'm not going anywhere. Ready? Alright. I've already pretty much spelled out what it is that I didn't like about this season, but setting up a bunch of new dragon riders, putting all the players on the board for a massive all-out dragon war, and not ending this season with at least a glimmer of that battle felt like the biggest tease in the worst way imaginable. It was just cheap, and that's what I mean when I say this whole season was filler. We got one phenomenal battle scene with Rhaenys, but aside from that, there should have been more. There was also an incredible sequence where some people were having a petty squabble about family differences. Then it transitioned to the post-war consequences by showing hundreds of dead bodies and horses. It was pretty inconsequential to the main characters or the main plot, but that perfectly illustrated what this show and what the Game of Thrones franchise is all about. I'm also really glad the blacksmith guy got his due. The show was also clearly setting up the drunk one to become a dragon rider, and he's fun, but I would have rioted if the blacksmith didn't get a dragon. I should also bring up how every time Helaena said some cryptic stuff, I just wondered, alright, who's gonna die? The show kind of hints in the last episode that she might be a witch, or just has more influence than she was letting on. And even before that reveal, or whatever that was, I was hanging on to her every word, just because I figured the writers were having fun with her dialogue, putting in foreshadowing whenever they could. So, not that this show or the world it's set in is meant to be fun, but there is plenty of entertainment to be drawn from this sometimes harrowing franchise. And I haven't even mentioned Daemon yet, but what is there to say? Characters going on their own side adventures for a whole season to gain a new perspective happens all the time in this franchise, so I was fine with it. But I certainly could have done with less tripping out. Or more? I don't know. I'm still processing what in the world even happened there. But those are my thoughts on the most recent season of House of the Dragon. Do you hate having to wait for the next season as much as I do? Leave a comment and let me know. And as always, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe for weekly video essays and reviews, and enjoy a delicious sandwich.